Howdy, howdy. Welcome on in to the pre-show. Before the free show.
It's a big day, Pickle.
One Greg.
It's a large day. Not just because I'm here, but also because other Greg is here.
And y'all are matching.
Look at us. Well, can you turn...
Riding for the brand.
We are riding for the
brand.
I'm sorry. Somebody adjusted my chair. You know I'm very sensitive about where my chair
Your
is.
butt groove.
Yes. Anyway, hello. Welcome on into the pre-show before the free show. It is, of course, Thanksgiving Eve. This is an important day. You know what's really interesting? Christmas Eve is a big day, right? Christmas Eve, everyone's like, oh.
Yeah, because
Christmas
that's a day
Eve.
that actually gets put on the calendar. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, it says Christmas Eve on your planner.
Nobody puts Thanksgiving Eve on the calendar. We need to make Thanksgiving Eve a day. I think part of it is because Thanksgiving's always on a Thursday. Like then you'd be treating a Wednesday, and you know that let me move this. That the capitalists are not going to let us have an extra day. You know what I mean? Because they got to get that labor out of us.
It'd be nice to turn it into a 5-day weekend, though.
Buddy, we do it for Christmas, right? We functionally do it for Christmas.
So
Nobody works on Christmas Eve or Boxing Day.
Does it matter for us? Because
no. But I'm talking about the common man. I'm not talking
fine.
about you and your ivory tower. I'm talking about the common man like me and Powers.
Oh my God.
And so, because we're out here grinding, we're out here we're 9 to 5 Johnny, and we're trying to make this happen. And so I think we need to make Thanksgiving Eve a thing, because the other thing is on Christmas Eve. Let's just go around the horn. Pickle. Mm-hmm. What does your family do on Christmas Eve?
We have Christmas with the pickle side of the family.
Okay. What do you eat?
Mexican food.
Mexican food. Bingo. What do you do on Christmas Eve?
We usually do like a steak and seafood type of dinner.
We do enchiladas and margaritas in my house.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's what we've done forever. We do enchiladas and margaritas. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right. That's the thing. And yet, I don't think anybody has the real locked and loaded what do you do for Thanksgiving Eve meal, even though
Powers does, apparently.
We'll get to that. Even though it feels like the pre-Thanksgiving meal is really important, considering the gut is going to get tested the next day.
Yeah.
Right? Christmas, you have a nice dinner and stuff like that,
Right.
but I don't think anybody views Christmas as a day that you
No, and that is an
gorge.
important meal because you can't not eat. You're going to mess yourself up if you try not to eat tonight.
Yes.
And tomorrow morning.
It's
That's
like
way too long.
Training.
Yeah.
You have to train before the big
Because
day.
to me, exactly right. You got to get out there and get some miles under your feet if you're going to go run a marathon.
Because
Same
then
thing
you're not
tomorrow.
going to eat tomorrow morning.
That's exactly right. Tonight's an important meal because tonight you need to fill up to take you up until whenever your time that you're having Thanksgiving dinner is. Because maybe you'll have some coffee and maybe like somebody will have like
little appetizer bagel,
something
you
like
know?
that, right? But nobody's
Muffin.
going to go out there and be like, it's not like Christmas, because Christmas morning, I don't know about you guys, we do like a big breakfast casserole.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I think that's pretty standard, right? So we need to normalize Thanksgiving Eve. Hashtag normalize Thanksgiving Eve. Can we get down the bottom third, please? Hashtag normalize Thanksgiving Eve. Because I want to get this thing going. And Powers, you are going to be doing something special tonight.
Yes, we plan to feast on some Philadelphia cheesesteaks.
Mm-hmm. Ooh.
From Brooklyn?
What?
Right? I don't know. It's a whole thing. I could
Brooklyn?
give you the whole breakdown, but there was a place
Mm-hmm.
that split off from one of the best cheesesteak places in Philly and went to Brooklyn.
Mm-hmm.
And
Okay.
number one choice in Philly sold out of cheesesteaks.
Mm.
So we went to the place that supposedly has the same cheesesteaks in Brooklyn.
Right.
So there was a whole thought process behind it.
Right.
But I think it's like a day for pizza, too. I think like a lot of the pizza establishments are probably
I was just going to say that
super
was
busy.
I
Can we
think
take
that,
off the S on Thanksgivings?
Oh, oops.
It's fine. But yes, I think that you're.
It is the eve of Thanksgiving.
Yes, it is. That's very good.
I actually kind of like it.
Thanksgiving. There you go. Normalize Thanksgiving Eve. Yeah, I think that's a good play because do something a little exotic, right? Something a little bit.
Yeah, I do like that. I think we were planning on maybe pizza tonight.
Ooh,
So.
see, that's good. We did pizza last night,
So I'm looking, and I had this idea yesterday as I could not come in for what was the DCTF Thanksgiving
Yes.
potluck spectacular.
Right.
I couldn't make it. And I was thinking, you know what? We should do Thanksgiving 2 and make that an office potluck. And I've picked a date out.
Okay. Oh, Thanksgiving the sequel?
And it should be on a Thursday, I
Mhm.
think,
Yeah.
fall in line. Thursday, June 16th. And there's no significance behind that date
my
other
brother's
than the
birthday.
fact that it's like really kind of in the middle of.
Well,
the,
let me just tell you something, okay? This past June, you may remember I had a birthday.
Mm-hmm.
And what was my birthday party theme, Pickle?
Thanksgiving themed.
I had a Thanksgiving birthday party. And guess what? It slapped. It was the best birthday party I've ever had. Now I've had some good birthday parties. The best birthday party I've ever had.
The only wrench.
Why don't we just make Greg's Giving, Tep's Giving,
Thanksgiving too.
Thanksgiving 2 Electric Boogaloo?
I like it.
I like it too.
We could make it a whole thing because that's the perfect distance to where you could be excited about having a Thanksgiving meal again.
I think you're so spot on. I can't agree with you more. I'm
I'm here
trying
for
to,
it.
and I can't.
I mean, apparently we're doing like Christmas in February, so we can make it like our football schedule.
Yes, I think that's right. I love it. I love it, and I love you for thinking about it. Thank you. Thank you for having
You're
the courage
welcome.
to think about it.
Let's do it. Let's make
That's
it
great.
happen.
Let's make it happen.
We might be at 7-on-7 that week, but sometime.
No, shouldn't be.
Last year that was the same week. The
Hey, Pickle?
third week.
Hey, Pickle.
Yeah, someone has to be real here.
I was thinking the
somebody has to come
23rd.
and
I was
poop
thinking
in our
23rd
punch bowl?
would be.
Maybe it is 23rd. Okay.
Hit the theme expo. Pickle. Hit the arrow sign. Yes, y'all. From the Dave Campbell's Texas Football Mothership here in beautiful Louisville, Texas, it's Texas Football Today, the official pregame show of Thanksgiving. My name's Greg Tepper. I'm the managing editor of Dave Campbell's Texas Football, a magazine, texasfootball.com, a corresponding website. Thank you for spending part of your day with us, whether you're watching us live on texasfootball.com, on Facebook, on YouTube, or on Twitch. You're listening to us on the podcast, which you can subscribe to on the podcast vendor of your choice. Either way, thank you for doing your part to support your local, mediocre internet show. I am sitting in this chair right here, sitting over there. She's not just a turkey today. She's a turkey every day. She's the Duchess of the Dork. She's Ashley Pickle.
I don't think that was a compliment.
Was it? I guess
Pretty
we'll
sure
never
it's
know.
not.
I guess we'll never know. And sitting to my right, he's the president of Next Level Athlete. He
Grab.
is the
What's up?
recruiting analyst for Dave Campbell's Texas Football. He is Greg Powers. Hi, Powers.
What's going on, y'all?
Happy Thanksgiving Eve.
Happy Thanksgiving Eve to y'all.
Hashtag normalized Thanksgiving Eve. Thanks for coming. We appreciate you coming in on this high holiday, because I know you've got a big day tomorrow.
Yeah, but you got to get ready for tomorrow. And that means you got to clear all the work off your plate today.
That's exactly right.
This relieves some of his anxiety about his cheesesteaks, so
Ooh, good point.
That's true.
we're helping him out.
Today is Wednesday, November 24th, 2021.
Say it. Smiles.
One day until Thanksgiving.
Let's go.
Guys, we've run back the tape. We've been counting it down whole year. It's tomorrow. It's going to be awesome. And by the way, yes, on Monday, we'll start the count again.
That'll be 361 days before Thanksgiving.
Thank you for doing the math.
Let's go.
Happy birthday to, boy, it's not a whole lot of people's birthdays. Happy birthday, Colin Hanks. He's best known. I don't know. He's pretty good. He had some role that he was really good in. Oh, he's in Fargo. He's really good in Fargo. Episode 1289. On today's show, guys, it's a monster show.
This is
here.
mega
Too much.
show.
Honestly, it's too much show.
Yeah.
It's too much show. We're giving away too much show.
This
We
is
should be
true.
charging you for it, but we're not. You know why? It's Thanksgiving. We got This Week in Recruiting with Greg Powers, Next Level Athlete, breaking down the latest and greatest in recruiting across the state of Texas. Then we're going to unveil live, exclusively here on Texas Football Today, the Mr. Texas Football semifinalists for the Player of the Year award handed out by Dave Campbell's Texas Football in conjunction with the Tax Act Texas Bowl. We will have that coming up to you, the 25 semifinalists for the most prestigious award in Texas high school football. Then we got the picks, my high school football predictions for all 88 UIL Texas high school football games this weekend. Then we got my college football recap, or not recap, my college football preview with burning questions. We're going to go through that. And then we got the Thanksgiving Spectacular. Guys, it's a big day. A big show.
Wow.
Too much show.
Yeah.
Do we
it's beefy.
Do we have a Thanksgiving spectacular first four through the door?
We do. It was Tony Blaylock, Christo Fire 100, retired coach Terry S. Crawford, and Rob Hadaway. Welcome in, fellas. We also figured out that retired Coach Crawford was a middle school coach for a long time. And it's also funny. Did you ever see the SNL skit of David S. Pumpkins? Like the difference between David Pumpkins and David S. Pumpkins?
No.
Okay, we got to watch it. It reminds me of that every time I see Terry S. Crawford. We'll get there. Anyway.
Oops. It's an excellent story, Pickle.
Thanks. It makes a lot more sense if you were cool and in the know.
Could you tell the story again?
Okay, we've got stuff to do, sir.
Well, David S. Pumpkins is Colin Hanks' father.
That is right.
Tom
It
Hanks.
all ties in together. Well
Thank
done,
you,
Powers. Good
Powers.
job.
Connecting the dots.
Yeah, good job. Thank you, Powers, for bringing that story actually to some sort of meaningful conclusion.
Let's go.
I'm Greg Tepper. That's Greg Powers, and this is This Week
In Crootin.
He's fired up for Thanksgiving. It's This Week in Recruiting with Greg Powers, the Next Level Athlete. Follow him on Twitter at GPowersScout. Follow Next Level Athlete on Twitter, Next Level D1. See his fine work at TexasFootball.com/recruiting. And, of course, this is brought to you by our good chicken friends at Chicken Express. Chicken Express, they're probably closed tomorrow.
And if you're thinking about,
Actually, we were talking about
Pre-gaming?
Thanksgiving Eve.
yeah, pregame with some Chicken Express tonight.
Boy.
Not a bad idea.
Not bad at all.
Well, you might be onto something. Thanksgiving Eve at
'Cause
Chicken Express.
That's the perfect amount of food to get you full, but not too full.
Ooh.
You can portion control there, and they've
Ooh.
got family meals because you'll have people in town.
Well, I mean, it warms your heart up as well. And,
That too.
this is Thanksgiving's a time for family and to eat delicious foods, and Chicken Express covers all those bases.
This Week in Recruiting with Greg Powers, the Next Level Athlete. A lot to get to. Let's start with our prospect on the rise. Our prospect on the rise is Waxahachie 2023 cornerback Calvin Simpson, who had picked up an offer from Texas Tech back on November 9th, and he goes, kind of looked around and goes, works for me. He's committed to the Red Raiders. Here is a guy that you really like as a true corner out there on the outside, and another defensive pickup for Joey McGuire and these Red Raiders.
I really was impressed with him, too, in the second game of the season when we went and watched him live against Arlington Lamar. He was a guy who jumped out, and I was watching the game. I was filming it kind of from in the stands, try to get some good highlights, and I was on the Waxahachie side, and I started asking people around me, who is this guy? No one, he was kind of a first-year starter playing in his second game, and no one knew his name. And I made it my mission to figure out who this corner was, and it was Calvin Simpson, and he passes the eyeball test in person. He is very well put together. He isn't afraid to press and play tight in man coverage, which I can really respect. You have to have a little bit of an edge when you're going against some top guys. And then doing some more research after that game, found out that he's pretty good in track and field, and does some other things well away from football. So it wasn't a surprise to see him start to get some recruiting attention. But a great job by Texas Tech recognizing his talents early on in the recruiting process, and then being able to lock down a commitment from Calvin Simpson. He's a guy who's going to blow up. I watched his complete junior highlight tape again today, and he's got skills. And I think whenever everybody starts to realize his talent level, he's going to be a guy that they continue to offer, even though he's committed.
Speaking of guys with great talent, speaking of defensive guys who are now committed to Texas Tech, talk about our commit of the week. Our commit of the week is Katy linebacker Ty Kana. Is it Kana? I got that right? Kana. Ty Kana, the linebacker from Katy, has committed to Texas. He was a one-time USC commit. He is now committed to Texas Tech. We checked in at number 67 in our Dave Campbell's Texas Football Hot 100, which you can find at TexasFootball.com/recruiting. Hey, you guys are never going to believe this, but Katy's got a couple of defenders who are really good.
What?
Ty Kana, the man in the middle there for the Katy Tigers, and a guy who relentless. This guy, he played. There's no. I'll say this: there ain't no questions about his motor. The motor doesn't stop running.
Yeah, and Katy continues to produce top-level players, especially on the defensive side of the ball, and it's one of the most talented rosters in the state of Texas year in and year out. This was a one-time USC commit who backed off of his pledge, whenever Helton was let go, opening up the door for Joey McGuire and his staff at Texas Tech. And again, Texas Tech has stayed in this notebook since McGuire's been hired there, and not just because he's a former Texas high school football coach, but because they've been making waves on the recruiting trail. Canaan was the highest rated commitment this week in the state of Texas. So they continue to add integral pieces. They added another commitment this week from offensive lineman Eric Gray at Amarillo, solid 3-star player. So they're getting pieces that are relevant to help turn that thing around, I think, in Lubbock. And they're being very aggressive as it relates to the recruiting process, especially with Texas high school football talent. Canaan took a recent unofficial, or maybe it was an official visit to SMU. So Texas Tech was able to beat out some schools like Baylor, SMU, Oklahoma State, USC, and more to get a pledge from him. And I think this is like the type of guy that if you're a Red Raiders fan, you're excited to get one of the best defensive players in the state and starting to set a trend there. There's a trend. He
strikes me as the kind of guy, and watching his film, he's not going to be the highest rated prospect in this class.
Right.
If Joey McGuire has his druthers, he's not going to be the highest. But you want to talk about a guy who's going to be like a 3-year starter for them and like the anchor of that defense. Like Ty Canaan can be that guy for Texas Tech. And remember, they've had a history of really good linebackers recently. You know what I mean? Brooks was there for a while. I forget his first name.
I think when we did like a recap of NFL like defensive talent, probably about 6 months back, Texas Tech was surprisingly one of the leaders, and it was because of their development of linebackers. But this guy, reminds me a lot of Patty Fisher, who was a great linebacker there. The intangibles are a little bit different, but he went on to Northwestern to be a tackling machine. You mentioned he's not going to be the highest-rated prospect, and that's because there are going to be some other guys like a Harold Perkins who's out there that brings something completely different to the table from a speed perspective. But he reads and diagnoses really well, and he's always around the football, and Texas Tech fans, I think, will love that his consistency.
Very active, very active. We're talking This Week in Recruiting with Greg Powers, next level athlete here on Texas Football Today. Get involved in the conversation, #TF Today. Let's talk about a guy who Pickle got to see up close and personal last week. Our underclassman of the week. It's 2023 junior running back out of College Station, Marquise Collins. He's up for Mr. Texas Football Player of the Week after he goes for, checking my notes, 308 and 6 touchdowns. And you're like, oh, okay, that's pretty good. Against Frisco Lone Star in their romp over the Rangers. A 4-star. He's picked up offers this week from Utah and Baylor. He's got 10 offers now. This train's only getting started for Marquise Collins. I think everybody's starting to find out, this guy's pretty good.
And congratulations to Marquise Collins, who is now a DCTF 4-star.
How about that?
And if you're interested to check out the rankings, texasfootball.com/recruiting, click on the rankings tab. We have updated the top 50 prospects in the class of 2023, and Marquise Collins is one of those guys. And I really love his game. It was great to see him get to have his breakout moment in that game against Lone Star, where there were a lot of eyes on that game, but he is slippery in the open field, runs with power when needed, and easily escapes arm tackles. He's kind of like the total package. Like if you're building a running back and you want him to be able to have speed, elusiveness.
Yeah, elusiveness. That's good.
And game-breaking skill sets, can catch the ball out of the backfield. He kind of is like that new age style of running back that can kind of do it all. And College Station is loaded at the running back position. They got some other talent there as well.
Yeah, I think that he is going to be a star there, wherever he ends up. And I think he showed that last week against a ferocious defense that he just carved up in a big, big way. So keep an eye on that. And finally, let's round it all out with our Recruit of the Week. Our Recruit of the Week is Humble Summer Creek 2023 offensive tackle Kelvin Banks. 2022 tackled Kelvin Banks. And you're probably thinking, wait a second, is this guy committed? And he is. He's committed to Oregon. You may remember back in July he committed to Oregon. But now he's a 5-star, DCF 5-star. But there's some, there's some, you always say, don't tell me what they say, tell me what they do.
Yep.
Well, he's taken some visits recently to Texas and to Texas A&M. Are you putting him on flip watch?
I have him on flip watch. First off, when he committed to Oregon, I thought it was a surprise.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that I thought Texas had a really good shot at him at that point. But Texas A&M does such a great job recruiting Houston area offensive linemen. I'm always stuck in this thing. Is like, well, he's from Houston and he's going to end up at A&M. You know, for whatever reason, I have that stuck in my thought process as it relates to the top offensive lineman talent in that area of the state. He's taken recent unofficial visits to Texas and Texas A&M. He took official visits there as well. He's not going to probably have the chance to go see Oregon again before the early signing period.
Mm-hmm.
I think that is, if I'm looking at it, I'm thinking, oh, well, if I'm a 5-star, I'd really want to go see that game day atmosphere. And I don't know. There's just a lot of signs pointing that this thing could not be over. He comment-wise remains a solid commitment to Oregon, but there's enough smoke there that I think that there's a little bit of a fire burning, and we'll just have to see how it all plays out. It is going to be a remarkable stretch to the early signing period, and here's why. You have guys like Kelvin Banks who are looking around, but you have a number of the top-tier recruits in the state of Texas right now who remain uncommitted. Denver Harris, Amari Abor.
Denver Harris, the cover boy of the Dave Campbell's Texas Football Rising magazine, available now if you're a subscriber at TexasFootball.com/subscribe. Go on.
Great cover, by the way. Harold Perkins, Evan Stewart, Cameron Dewberry, Devon Campbell. That's just guys who are rated in the top 10 who have not announced.
Yeah.
So I think I'm going to be busy.
I think you're going to be pretty busy, right? I think that you're going to have a little bit of things to do between now and early signing period, and then probably between now and National Signing Day. But he's always busy. He's our Greg Powers at Next Level Athlete. Follow him on Twitter at GPowersScout. Follow Next Level Athlete on Twitter, Next Level D1. See his fine work at TexasFootball.com/recruiting. Powers, happy Thanksgiving, my friend.
Happy Thanksgiving to y'all as well.
Appreciate you stopping by. We are at Texas Football Today. We're here every weekday at noon on TexasFootball.com, talking football in the Lone Star State. You can follow us on Twitter at TCTF, like us on Facebook, Facebook.com/Dave Campbell's. Follow us on Instagram, Instagram.com/Dave Campbell's, and of course, see us at TexasFootball.com. TexasFootball.com is where you can find complete coverage of high school football, college football, and recruiting all across the Lone Star State.
I think our friends at Hometown Ticketing want to talk to the people.
Hey, friends at Hometown Ticketing, got something to say? Fast scans, happy fans. Hometown Ticketing is proud to be the official digital ticketing solution of Dave Campbell's Texas Football. Simplify your school's ticketing with Hometown, providing schools nationwide with the best options for digital ticketings for their events. Visit their website at hometownticketing.com to learn how they can make digital ticketing possible at your school. That's hometownticketing.com. All right, Pickle, now it's time to do something pretty fun. And that is...
It is.
Dave Campbell's Texas Football, the leading publication for all things football in the state of Texas, and the Tax Act Texas Bowl are proud to announce the 25 semifinalists for the Mr. Texas Football High School Player of the Year Award. Mr. Texas Football annually recognizes the most outstanding high school football player in the state of Texas. Each week, fans are given a chance to vote on the Player of the Week at TexasFootball.com. At the end of the season, 10 finalists will be named. Fans will then cast their vote as to who should be the Mr. Texas Football Player of the Year. The winner of the 2021 Mr. Texas Football Player of the Year Award will be announced prior to the 2022 Texas Bowl, which will be played on January 4th at NRG Stadium in Houston. Thanks again to our friends at the Tax Act Texas Bowl for presenting the Mr. Texas Football Player of the Year Award. Of course, last year, you may remember, went to Jonathan Brooks, the Hallettsville running back. We've had a number of outstanding playmakers, including Kyler Murray, Johnny Manziel, Jonathan Gray, Jaquiz Rogers, Spencer Sanders, et cetera, who have gone on to great things after being named Mr. Texas Football Player of the Week. And this is tough. I'll be honest. This is a very difficult decision because we have to narrow it down to 25 players across the state of Texas.
But, and then it only gets tougher from there.
And then it only gets tougher because then we have to go to 10 and then we have to go to 1. So it's going to be tough. But without further ado, we're proud to present the 25 semifinalists for the Mr. Texas Football Player of the Year Award. Beginning with Childress quarterback Colin Bishop, China Spring quarterback Major Bowden, Spring quarterback Bishop Davenport, Poteet running back Ernest Davila, Katy running back Seth Davis, Stephenville wide receiver Coy Aiken, Amarillo Tascosa athlete Major Everhart, Klein Kane wide receiver Matthew Golden, Euless Trinity running back Ollie Gordon, Denton Ryan linebacker Anthony Hill Jr., Spring Westfield defensive lineman A.J. Holmes, Rockwall Heath quarterback Josh Hoover, College Station quarterback Jet Huff, Frisco Lone Star athlete Ashton Genty, Austin Westlake quarterback Cade Klubnik, Rockwall quarterback, Braden Locke. Dripping Springs quarterback, Austin Novosad. El Campo running back, Reuben Owens. Cy Park athlete, Harold Perkins. Belleville running back, Richard Reese. Killeen Harker Heights running back, Rashawn Sanford. Gilmer quarterback, Brandon Tennyson. Bridgeland quarterback, Connor Wigman. Jim Ned running back, Xavier Wishart. And Midland Legacy running back, Michaelan Young. There they are, the 25 semifinalists for the 2021 Mr. Texas Football Player of the Year in conjunction with the Tax Act Texas Bowl. We will then narrow this thing down to 10 finalists before we name the Mr. Texas Football Player of the Year coming up later in December. So there they are, the 25 semifinalists for the 2021 Mr. Texas Football Player of the Year, selected by Dave Campbell's Texas Football in conjunction with the Tax Act Texas Bowl.
Insane list there.
Yeah, I don't know what we're going to do.
That, like, even the thought of narrowing that down to 10
makes me nervous.
Seems impossible.
It makes me tense.
To try and to know that in the forefront we have to figure out how to narrow that to one is
not going to be fun.
No,
it's not going to be fun.
Between that and the cover, these are two of our most difficult decisions every year.
Down to that, yeah. But anyway, congratulations to all the semifinalists. We look forward to torturing ourselves to figure out how we come up with 10 finalists and then one winner. So if y'all would just quit being so good at football, it would really help us out. We're Texas Football Today. We're here every weekday at noon on TexasFootball.com, talking football in the Lone Star State. You can follow us on Twitter at TCTF, like us on Facebook, Facebook.com/Dave Campbell's. Follow us on Instagram, Instagram.com/Dave Campbell's, and of course see us at TexasFootball.com. A reminder, we do not have a show Thursday or Friday, but we will be back Monday with a new episode of Texas Football Today. Pickle, between now and then, it's going to be 88 UIL Texas high school football games.
Yeah.
Playoff games, win or go home. I have decided to predict all 88. Seems foolhardy.
Yeah,
but
it does.
But we're going to do it. Here's the picks for the regional semifinals of the Texas High School Football Playoffs here on Texas Football Today. The regional semifinals of the Texas High School Football Playoffs are here, and it's Thanksgiving. Could this week be any better? These are the picks. Welcome into the picks, your guide to Texas high school football playoffs. My name is Greg Tepper of Dave Campbell's Texas Football and TexasFootball.com. Thank you so much for tuning in, and happy Thanksgiving. Around here, Dave Campbell's Texas Football, we are of the belief that Thanksgiving is the best day of the year. And so Thursday is the best day of the year. It also happens to be a day when we're kicking off the third round of the 2021 Texas high school football playoffs with massive games everywhere you look. This is the time of year in which every single game on the docket is a certified banger. And so we're going to go through every single one of them. I'll either mention it out loud or my picks are scrolling at the bottom of the screen. We start in Waco. 2 o'clock Saturday afternoon at Waco ISD Stadium. It is a 6A Division II regional semifinal between the Bridgeland Bears and the Cedar Hill Longhorns. What are the keys to this matchup? Key number 1, pace. What does this game look like? That's what this really comes down to, because these are two teams that want to play this game in a very different way. For Bridgeland, they want to get out and run. They want quarterback Connor Wigman to be the star of the show, as he has been for most of the season. He has been spectacular. The Texas A&M commit is everything he is hyped up to be. He leads a high-powered offense that's clicking on all cylinders. They want to play this game into the 30s, into the 40s. You want to get into the 50s? Let's go. That Bridgeland Bears offense is dangerous. Cedar Hill, on the other hand, doesn't want to play that. Cedar Hill wants to keep this a low-scoring slugfest. They actually have a negative point differential on the season, and it's not because they're bad, it's just because their defense is what wins them ball games. Their defense has been very good in the playoffs, giving up just 12 points in their first 2 playoff games. Now, quarterback Cedric Harden, I think, is capable, but they want to lean more on that defense, led by Kylan Salters. So, plain and simple, who dictates the pace of this game? Key number 2, Cedar Hill's turnover margin. So speaking of defense, Cedar Hill absolutely has to win the turnover margin in this game. That's where they make their hay. They are -4 in the turnover margin in their 4 losses, and they're +4 in the turnover margin in their 8 wins. It's just as simple as that. When they are turning the ball over with guys like Keandre Jackson and guys like Jalen Peoples, they're very difficult to beat. But when they are giving the ball away more than they're taking it away, plain and simple, they're pretty beatable. So, can Bridgeland stay out of the turnover game, or will Cedar Hill's attacking defense make some big plays? And key number 3, Houston versus DFW.
Doesn't it always boil down to something like this, right? But here we are into the third round of the Texas high school football playoffs, and you're starting to get these true cross-regional matchups with teams from Houston playing teams from DFW, teams from Austin playing teams from San Antonio, and Houston versus DFW takes center stage here. And I think both places have an argument to having the superior Texas high school football this season. Now look, if Bridgeland beats Cedar Hill, does that mean that Houston has better high school football than DFW? No. If Cedar Hill beats Bridgeland, does that mean DFW is better than Houston? No. It's one game, and they are not necessarily representative of the entire region. But make no mistake, Cedar Hill's carrying the flag for DFW. Bridgeland is carrying the flag for Houston. And they're out there representing their area, hoping to bring back a big win to their town. So, it's a tale as old as time. Is it Houston or is it DFW? Who am I picking? I'm going with Bridgeland. The Bears get the nod here on the strength of their offense. I think that's the real strength-on-strength matchup in this one is the Bridgeland offense against this ferocious defense there for Cedar Hill. But I think that Bridgeland is probably going to have a couple of wrinkles to be able to get past this Cedar Hill defense. Furthermore, while the Bridgeland defense has been a little bit susceptible, especially recently, the Cedar Hill offense just has not shown me enough to make me think that they can get into some sort of shootout with them. I think that this game ultimately does come down to pace. If Bridgeland can get to about 35 points, it feels like that's probably too big of a mountain for the Cedar Hill offense to climb. I think this game has a chance to be really fun, and again, you're going to talk about some physical football with Cedar Hills involved, but I do think Bridgeland gets the win. 7 o'clock Friday night at the Ford Center in Frisco. It's a 5A Division II regional semifinal between the Lovejoy Leopards and the Timberview Wolves. So all year long, Lovejoy has been the team that can beat Aledo in the Region 2, right? That's been the Aledo Slayer. Last couple of weeks have been a little bit shaky for the Leopards. They lose their regular season finale to Frisco Liberty, and then last week they really had to work for it against Burleson. Quarterback Alexander Franklin continues to be fantastic, but that defense really has to step up, especially this week against kind of the party crasher, right? Timberview, after beating Ennis in the area round for the second consecutive year, they are brimming with confidence with guys like Jaden Marshall, their quarterback. They got a big-time wide receiver in Samarian Chambliss. They can run the ball well with Jarvis Reed. This is an offense that's really humming, be a big test for this Lovejoy team. Now, I think this game has a chance to be really close, and for Timberview, they got to feel like they can beat anybody right now. I do give Lovejoy a very slight edge. 5 o'clock Friday evening at Children's Health Stadium in Prosper. It's a 4A Division II regional semifinal between the China Spring Cougars and the Carthage Bulldogs. This might be the biggest threat to Carthage in the playoffs that we've seen in a while because, boy, China Spring is cooking with Crisco right now. They have been absolutely fantastic. Quarterback Major Bowden has been unbelievable. Their defense has really stepped up in a big way. They feel like they can beat anybody, and here's anybody, right? The undisputed number one team in 4A Division II, the team to beat in Carthage. I do think this Bulldogs offense is starting to wake up a little bit behind quarterback Connor Cuff. He had a really nice game last week, and that defense has been, well, it's been plain and simple, pound for pound, one of the best defenses in the state, led by linebacker Kip Lewis. I actually think this game has a chance to be relatively low scoring, simply because I think both defenses have been fantastic. But look, you can't pick against Carthage. They're the team to beat here. I think the Bulldogs get a win. 2 o'clock Friday afternoon at Gordonwood Stadium in Brownwood. It's a 3A Division I regional semifinal between the Brock Eagles and the Gymnet Indians, and here we go again. This is the rematch of last year's regional semifinal that really kickstarted Jim Ned's Cinderella run to the state championship when they knocked off Brock last year. And look, it's been pretty much the same for Jim Ned this year. They've been the number one team in the state wire to wire, and they're doing it in the same way. The defense is a knack for the big play, and running back Xavier Wishart is a bulldog guy that you want the ball in his hands down the stretch. Well, here comes Brock. New coach Billy Mathis has really turned up the heat for this Brock team. They have looked fantastic. They run the ball, of course, very well. The new running back is Cutter Wilson. But the difference this year is that they can throw the ball pretty well. With Tyler Moody, they are a fully versatile offense, and that makes them very dangerous. Also, they have the number one scoring defense in 3A Division I. They look like a complete team. They've been looking for some revenge. I think they get it. Give me Brock. 2 o'clock Friday afternoon at Porcupine Stadium in Springtown. It's a 2A Division II regional semifinal between the Munster Hornets and the Albany Lions. And ooh boy, we are getting into the nitty-gritty of 2A Division II Region 2 with two big-time heavyweights going at it. You know, Albany has been very quietly mowing people down. They are beating teams by an average of 49 points per game. That is third best in the state at any level. They have been absolutely dominant. And last week they got pushed by Olney, but they were able to close it out with Coy Lefevre and Jaheim Newton on the ground. That is where they want to make their hay. They're going up against a Munster team that's really hanging their hat on that district win over defending state champs Windthorst. And look, they have been outstanding. The defense has been spectacular. They have an outstanding running back in Colton Deckard, and they're tested. They have played the tougher schedule in this matchup. And I think that's what this comes down to. How much do you think strength of schedule matters here? I think Munster has been more battle tested, right? So that may give them a very slight edge. I think this is a low-scoring slugfest, two teams taking sledgehammers to one another, but I think Munster gets a narrow win. And we're into the regional finals in six-man football. 6 o'clock Friday night in Breckenridge. It's a 1A Division II regional final between the Strawn Greyhounds and the Gordon Longhorns. And this is a rematch of one of the great rivalries in Texas high school football. These two teams know each other very well. They're separated by about 10 miles. They do not like each other. That's going to make this really fun. You know, Strawn's had claim to being the #1 team in 1A Division II all year long, and they've done nothing to really shake that reputation. They've been absolutely outstanding. Their defense is really leading the way. Last week, they were able to turn 4 turnovers against unbeaten Throckmorton into 29 points, and that was more or less that. They get a good running game from Lorenzo Garcia. On the other side, for Gordon, they are really looking very good, led by Drake Dykut. They've been outstanding, running the ball as well, and their defense has stepped up in a big way. But look, here's the bottom line of it. This is the second time in 4 weeks that these two teams are going to play. Okay, Strawn beat Gordon 83-38 back in week 11. What has changed between now and then to make you think the result will be all that much different? I think Gordon's playing a little bit better, but I don't think that it's enough to make up that gap. I think Strawn moves on to the state semifinals. But those are far from the only big games in the third round of the Texas High School Football Playoffs. Remember, all my picks are scrolling at the bottom of the screen. Let's get to the lightning round. In 6A Division I, I think Allen gets a little bit of revenge over Euless Trinity, and Umbel Atascocita takes down Fort Bend Ridgepoint. Duncanville gets a win over Spring, and I like San Antonio Brennan over Austin Bowie. 6A Division II now, I think Prosper beats El Paso Eastwood in a battle of teams that finished 4th in their district. I like Umbel Summer Creek over Katy Cinco Ranch, and I like Austin Westlake over PSJA North. 5A Division I now, Katy Pato takes down Cedar Park, and I'm going with Mansfield Summit to keep it rolling with a win over Midlothian. I like Corpus Christi Veterans Memorial over McAllen Memorial, and Denton Ryan beats Longview. 5A Division II now, Lubbock Cooper takes down Grapevine. Crosby keeps rolling with a win over A&M Consolidated, and I like Alamo Heights to beat Marble Falls. 4A Division I now, I like Wichita Falls Hershey over Dumas, and in what may be a little bit of an upset, I like Argyle over Stephenville. I'm going with Kilgore in a close one over Tyler Chapel Hill, and believe it, I like the Batlin Billies of Fredericksburg over Pleasanton. 4 Division II now, give me Salina over Snyder. Pleasant Grove keeps rolling with a win over Quinlan Ford, and I like Sinton over Geronimo Navarro. 3 Division I now, Diboll takes down Little River Academy. I'm going with Vanderbilt Industrial to beat San Diego, and I like West over Malakoff. 3 Division II now, a quick moment. Thank you to Dangerfield and West Rusk for having the courage to play on Thanksgiving Day. You're awesome. I hope you both win, but I'm going to go with Dangerfield over West Rusk, and Lubbock Roosevelt beats Brady. I'm taking Poth over Tidehaven, and Gunner keeps it rolling with a win over Dublin. 2A Division I now, matchup of two of the best defenses in Texas. I think Coleman takes down Hawley, and I'm going with Crawford over Italy. Centerville takes down Holland, and Refugio beats Ganado. 2A Division II now, I like Burton to take down Granger. Chilton beats district rival Bremont, and I'm going with Wellington over Groover. And there's big-time action in the 6-man ranks in the regional finals. 1A Division I, I'm going with Happy to take down Turkey Valley. And 1A Division II, give me those Abbott Panthers to take down district rival Coolidge. And those are the picks. I picked every single UIL Texas High School Football Playoff game this week. I either mentioned it out loud or scrolling at the bottom of the screen. So now you can let me know, what am I wrong about? Leave comments down below. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Follow us on Twitter at DCTF. Like us on Facebook, facebook.com/Dave Campbell's. Follow us on Instagram, instagram.com/Dave Campbell's. And of course, see us at texasfootball.com, where you can find complete coverage of the 2021 Texas High School Football Playoffs at texasfootball.com/playoffs. Thanks for watching. Enjoy the third round of the Texas High School Football Playoffs. Happy Thanksgiving. We'll see you. There it is, the picks. My high school football predictions for the regional semifinals, the third round of the Texas High School Football Playoffs. That's on YouTube. And so if you missed any of the games on the scroll, you can go back and look at that. But as always, I guarantee I got at least one of those right. I feel good about 3 of them. I feel really good about 3 of them.
We're at that point of the year, huh?
Yeah, I feel really good about three picks. DM me and I'll tell you which 3 picks I feel really good about. All right, Pickle. Normally this would be the last segment that we do on Thursday, but in fact it is Wednesday because we're taking Thursday and Friday off. It's time to answer some college football burning questions for the final week of the regular season. At least 2 teams will be playing next week.
Yes.
Which is Houston will be playing the American Athletic Conference Championship game at Cincinnati. And is that in Cincinnati? That's a home and home, right? So
yes.
Cincinnati gets it. And then
UTSA
will be hosting the Conference USA Championship game.
And there's a chance that Baylor could be playing.
And there could be as many as 3. Baylor could make the Big 12 Championship game. In any case, a lot to get to in this final week of the regular season. What's our first burning question?
Up first, let's go Kansas State at Texas, 11 a.m. on Friday. What can we learn about Texas in 2022 this week?
I don't know what exactly you can learn from this aside from who wants to be there.
Yep.
I think there's going to be a lot of churn on this roster. I think that I was on a radio interview yesterday and they asked me, could you see up to 35 new faces on the Texas roster next year? And I said, yeah, absolutely. Between a new full recruiting class and the churn in the transfer portal, I think, yeah, you're going to have a new look. And so I think there's guys who are going to be out there who want to say, yeah, I want to be a part of this Texas Longhorns program going forward. I think you're going to see some guys who say this is where I make my stand and I tell you that I'm committed to this program. Kansas State has been a bugaboo for Texas consistently. How much pride does Texas play with? Because I'll be honest, I know it seems silly, but 5-7 and 4-8 do feel different.
Yes,
I feel like especially finishing on a high at home would be important.
To say the home thing makes this one a lot more solidifies it a lot more in my mind.
Yeah, I think that this is an important game for Texas. I think this is an important game from Texas between the ears to go out there and to prove that you haven't tapped out, that some of these guys are willing to fight for this program. And I think we're going to learn a lot about some of the faces out there for Texas, not just the coaching staff, but also the personnel. What's next, Pickle?
Up next, let's head over to Conference USA in a game that might not super matter in the grand scheme of things. UTEP at UAB, 1 p.m. on Friday, but it matters for a person, and that is, will Jacob Cowing finish top 10 in receiving yards per game?
Yeah, so right now he's 6th in the nation. I don't know if you guys knew that, but Jacob Cowing, yes, the receiver at UTEP, he is 6th in the nation in receiving yards per game. Now, he's got a pretty comfortable lead over number 10. I think he's up like 7 or 8 yards per game. But he needs to have a decent game against UAB to make sure he solidifies that. I say yes. I think he's going to go for another 100 yards. I think he's been one of the most underrated players in the nation this year. He's been unbelievable. I think they're probably going to lose on the road at UAB, I'll just be honest. But I'm interested to see what Jacob Cowing does. Knowing full well that there's a bowl game on the horizon, almost certainly, I think that for UTEP, this would be a real feather in their cap to have a guy like this that they can point to recruits and say, hey, listen, come to UTEP and you can be a star at the receiving spot. I think that people have come to know UTEP as a place that puts out linemen and puts out running backs. If they are able to start saying, hey, look at Jacob Cowing. He's a guy who came here and he became a nationally renowned receiver, a nationally ranked receiver. I think they can do wonders for them. So, yeah, I think Jacob Cowing is going to finish in the top 10 in receiving yards this year per game, and I think that that's going to be a real feather in the cap for this Miners program. What's next, Pickle?
Up next, let's go back to the Big 12 as TCU is taking on Iowa State, 15-point dogs there, 3:30 p.m. on Friday. And here's something we don't necessarily talk about a lot. Usually we talk about teams accepting bowl invitations, but it can go the other way if TCU wins, should the Horned Frogs accept that bowl invitation. You can say no. I was
thinking about this, and I think there's actually a decent argument to be made that they shouldn't. There's not going to be a coach in place, right? Almost certainly. I mean, they could hire somebody tomorrow and they could jump in. I know Sonny Dykes did that with SMU when he took the job. They could jump in and coach it, but I don't think that there's a huge upside to that. You'll be asking Jerry Kill, who's almost certainly, I would say, not going to be on the staff at TCU past this season, to be coaching one more game. Yes, you can get more reps, you can get more practices, but you're going to be doing it under a regime that's not going to be there. Right? And so I think there's a lot of weird things here. And I wonder if TCU is to pull the upset. Make no mistake, it would be an upset if they were to go on the road to Ames on Friday afternoon and beat the Cyclones. But if they were to do it, I think there's a reasonable argument to be made that they shouldn't go. Now, look, there's some money to be made, and so they'll probably end up doing it. But
money and gifts for the players and stuff like that.
And the
That's
experience,
the only reason.
and the experience. Yeah. But I do think that there is a reasonable argument to be made that no, you know what? You go 6-6. We're gonna leave. We're gonna end this season. It hasn't been up to our standards. We're just gonna go our separate way. So I would say if TCU wins it, there is an argument they're going to, and I think they should. But I think there is a reasonable argument that they should decline it if they were to get a bowl invitation. Right. It's just something I was thinking about this week.
Yeah,
what's next, Pickle?
Sticking with the Big 12 here, Texas Tech at number 11, Baylor 14-point dogs in Waco, 11 a.m. on Saturday. The question is, who throws for more yards? Is it the Red Raiders or the Bears in the Butt Bowl?
So this is really interesting suddenly because normally this wouldn't be much of a case because you go, okay, well, one team has their starting quarterback and the other one's on basically their third string quarterback. Plus, Baylor's got a great defense. Tech's defense has been okay recently, but better than they have been, but certainly still giving up big yards. But with Gary Bohannon, I don't know what his status is right now.
Yeah.
I think that they're playing pretty close to the vest. I think right now you have to assume it's going to be Blake Shapen. I mean, that injury did not look good. He looked like he was in a world of pain.
Well, and at that point, too, if you have a chance, like there's the possibility you're playing for a Big 12 championship, you probably rest your guy against a down Texas Tech team.
But you also got to win the game to get to the Big 12 championship.
That's also
game,
true. Yeah.
Right? So that's another important factor in this one. So I would say right now I'm going to go with Baylor just because I think they're facing off against the worst defense. They're facing off against Tech. But at the same time, look, Donovan Smith has shown that he can put on the cape a little bit. He can do some big things. And for Tech, I think they're going to fight hard. I think they can go out there. They're already bowl eligible, so there's not a ton to play for here. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, I think that if you're Tech, they're going to go out there. They're going to throw whatever they've got at Baylor. They'd love to ruin their season.
Oh, yeah.
I think Baylor still throws for, even if it's Blake Shapen, I still think they throw for more yards. But I do think it's closer than it otherwise would have been because it's a fascinating quarterback situation there at Baylor right now. What's next, Pickle?
Up next, a game that better not be close.
No.
Number 24, Houston, 32-point favorites over an awful UConn team. 11 a.m. on a Saturday, and here's the question. Should Marcus Jones, should he get Heisman consideration?
Yes. Yes, he should. Yes. Marcus Jones has quietly been one of the best players in the country, both as a defensive back, where he's got big-time play after big-time play and kind of anchoring what has been a resurgent Houston defense. And he is a guy who is a dynamo in special teams. This guy kind of fits the Desmond Howard role, right? When he won the Heisman back for Michigan. But here's the thing: he's not going to get any Heisman consideration because one, he plays for the wrong team.
Yep.
Plays for a Group of 5 team, and they're just not going to give it to a Group of 5 guy. He plays the wrong position, right? Defense and special teams. And it's a political award, right? The Heisman is a joke, and we should say it out loud. It's not representative of who the best player in the country is. It's representative of who the best story is. It's representative of who the best player on the best team is. Marcus Jones is one of the very best players in the country, and he's shown that this year. He should get Heisman consideration. He won't because the Heisman is an unjust system. What's next, Pickle?
You feel better?
I do.
Back to Conference USA, Louisiana Tech taking on Rice down in Houston, 12 p.m. on Saturday. How much does this game matter to Rice?
It's a question, right? 3-8 versus 3-8, right? Both Louisiana Tech and Rice have had what I think you can categorize as disappointing seasons. Mm-hmm. I will say I think this game should matter a lot to Rice for a couple of reasons. One, you're at home, and I think that matters to finish the year at home. Furthermore, I think I've mentioned it before that 5-7 feels better than 4-8, and I think 4-8 feels better than 3-9. Especially at Rice, that would represent some movement in the right direction.
Right.
That they're maybe getting a little bit better, and that things are going a little bit better. If you can finish on a high note and prove that the best could be yet to come, I think that would go a long way towards shaping what the offseason is going to look like. I don't know what the job status of Mike Bloomgren is. I would presume he's safe.
Yeah.
We don't know.
But 4 wins doesn't hurt at all.
Getting another one would certainly make you give him an argument that if he does get called into a certain office, he could say, look, we're moving in the right direction. Especially beating a bad team at home. That's what you should do if you're Rice, right? That's a decent bar to make. So I think this game should matter a lot for Rice. I don't know if it will. We'll find out. It's 3-8 teams, and you never know how they're going to react. But I do think that for Rice it should matter a lot. And I imagine Mike Bloomgren and that staff are telling them how much it should matter. What's next, Pickle?
Up next, another Conference USA matchup here. Number 22, UTSA battling to stay undefeated on the season. They're a 10.5-point favorite over North Texas at Apogee. What is the key for North Texas to ruin that perfect season for UTSA?
Well, one of the things that North Texas has done recently that has improved their standing and made them play better football is they have been able to stop the run with any sort of consistency.
Yes.
Like, that's it. They've been better against the run, plain and simple. Well, here comes a big test, right, against Sincere McCormick and this UTSA team. If you take a look at when UTSA has really had to scratch and claw and when their offense has struggled, it's been because they haven't been able to get Sincere McCormick going. Mm-hmm. It's because, last week against UAB, it was a grind, but they were able to pull it out, even though Sincere McCormick was held largely in check. You go back to that game against Southern Miss, where they kind of played with their food a lot, they were not able to get Sincere McCormick going. If you're North Texas, you got to key on him. You got to make Frank Harris beat you, right? Because that is the second best part of their offense, right? The other part of it is keep that offense going, right? Keep that offense grinding. And the way that it's been going recently, it's taken a step forward. I think North Texas has an opportunity here to really ruin some seasons. Mm-hmm. They got an opportunity, and they can get bowl eligible. They got a lot to play for at home. Yep. A lot to play for here. Maybe Seth Luttrell's coaching for his job.
Right.
Maybe. There's a lot of motivation there. Really interesting, much more interesting than I would have thought at about 5 weeks ago, this UTSA North Texas game.
And yeah, that's the biggest thing. For me, the key, you can't get down early because every game that they lost, they dug themselves a hole they couldn't get out of. So if they come out swinging, you've got a game on your hands.
And let's also remember, UTSA has not exactly been a team that started fast.
No.
So you have an opportunity here if you're North Texas to get out of the first quarter and it still be a ball game. Because if you get buried, then UTSA is going to run away from you. What's next, Pickle?
Up next, Texas State at Arkansas State, a 2-point dog there, 1 p.m. on Saturday. Is this Jake Spavital's last game for Texas State?
If you had asked me 4 weeks ago, I think I would have said yes.
For him and Seth Luttrell.
I would have said yes. Now I'm leaning towards no.
Yeah.
I think they've shown some signs of life. I think he's going to have an argument to the brass to say, look, yes, this year was a disaster. Yes, we got to go back to the drawing board, but we have an opportunity to turn things over. I think right now, look, it's what, November 25th, 24th, something like that. November 24th.
You just want it to be Thanksgiving.
That's exactly right. If it's November 24th right now and you're putting a sports gun to my head and saying, is he the coach next year? I'm going to say yes. I think that he's got a lot of turnover on the staff and there's a lot of changes to be made, but I do think that they're going to keep him for one more year. Now, should they? That's certainly, you're within your rights to have that question.
Yeah.
I'm starting to think that Jake Spavital is going to hang on to his job for one more year.
Yeah, will the other Spavital, though?
I think Zach might be out of a job,
Yeah.
The defensive coordinator, but we'll find those things out. It is interesting, and certainly beating Arkansas State at home or on the road would certainly go a long way towards helping him keep his job next year. What's next?
Up next, it's our small school game of the week. SFA taking on Incarnate Word, 2 p.m. on Saturday. Who you got, Lumberjacks or Cardinals?
Tasty.
Yeah, playoff too.
Is a fun game. FCS playoffs kick off this week, and you get a WAC versus Southland Conference matchup of two former conference bunkmates now going at it. This is kind of like the equivalent of like if A&M, I mean, obviously not to that level, but like,
back in the day, if A&M and Texas
How about this?
would've-
How about this? If Texas played like Missouri,
Yeah.
right? Where it's like, oh, you left our conference, right? Things like that. That's what's going on here. This is a really intriguing game. On the road, Incarnate Word making their first ever playoff appearance. Big doings down there in San Antonio. I actually like the Lumberjacks. I like Stephen F. for one reason and one reason only. They get after the quarterback. Mm-hmm. They led the WAC in sacks. I think they had 38 sacks on the year. That is going to be the key. Can they make Cameron Ward uncomfortable in the pocket and force him into a couple of mistakes? I do not think that Stephen F. Austin has the offense to get into a shootout with UIW. I think they have to be able to get pressure on Cam Ward. That's going to be a fun game. ESPN Plus at 2 o'clock?
Yep.
Get on it. It's going to be a fun game, and I think there's going to be a lot of emotion in this game and a lot of passion. So get into that. I'm super into this game. Saturday at 2 o'clock. I think I lean towards Stephen F.
The statement they led the WAC in sacks is one of those that someone tuning in who knows nothing about football is going, what did he just say?
What in the world? It's strange. What's next, Pickle?
All right, and finally, let's talk some SEC action as number 16 Texas A&M is a dog to LSU down in Death Valley, 6 p.m. Is Texas A&M walking into a bear trap on Saturday night? And this is a drum you've been beating all stinking year.
I'm worried.
It would be so on brand with their resume that they put up this year.
Man.
Beat Alabama and then just lose to teams you should not lose to.
Okay. Let me talk about the things that are working in A&M's favor. A&M's a lot better than LSU.
Yes.
Like a lot better.
Let's make that the opening
They're
statement.
a lot better than LSU. Like across the board. Like they're significantly better than LSU. But on the road at night in Ed Orgeron's last game for bowl eligibility,
Yep.
I worry.
I just go back to like the Mississippi State game.
I
This
worry.
is such another Mississippi State game.
This worries me to death, and it's worried me for a while. Death Valley is tough at any time of day. It is especially tough at night. I think there's going to be a big rowdy crowd.
We would love to be
nice
proved
and
wrong.
liquored up.
Yeah.
Look, A&M should go out there and win this game 38-3.
Yep.
They're a lot better than LSU. But all of the other things conspiring against them, I worry big time. They have not been great away from Kyle, especially offensively, and that's something that I worry about. So if you're A&M, I think you got to come out and punch them in the mouth and take away their will.
Yep.
Take away the will. You are a lot better than LSU.
Yeah,
that's not really an opinion. It's just a fact.
And two, that crowd will leave.
Yes.
If you go out there and show them, oh, this isn't going to be.
They
a game.
will
If you
tap
let them-
out.
Yep.
LSU will tap out if you give them a reason to tap out. Don't let them hang around. Just go out there and kill the will. Kill their will early and go finish 9-3 and go on to Gator Bowl or whatever is on the horizon for them. Go out there and beat them. But I've been worried about this for like a month and a half.
Yep.
I've been like, oh God. As soon as they fired Ed Orgeron, I'm like, oh my God.
It's
It's
gonna
going to be at
happen.
night in Death Valley, and A&M's going to be a lot better, and they're going to go out there and they're going to
Headless,
screw around, and LSU's going to win some stupid game like 17-14. I worry, guys. Go make me look dumb for worrying,
Yes.
A&M. Come on. Those are college football burning questions. Normally that would be the end of our show, but there's one last thing to do, Pickle.
The best thing.
We're very excited about this. Welcome in to the 7th annual Texas Football Today Thanksgiving Spectacular. I'm Greg Tepper. This is Ashley Pickle. Pickle, you look great. I don't like to compliment you, but you look wonderful.
It's the scarf, right?
Welcome in. This is the 7th time we've done this. Every time Thanksgiving rolls around, because Thanksgiving's the best day of the year,
Yes.
we like to find a new way to celebrate it and make it a big deal. And so this year, we've decided to play a little bit of Thanksgiving this or that. I've come up with 10 questions. Pickle's not seen them. And we are going to go back and forth debating which is the preferable choice between this or that. And these, of course, beautiful this or that turkeys made by Pickle.
Thank you.
You're going to put your token in there, and you're probably thinking, well, what token are you using? Little footballs, of course.
We stay on brand.
So if you want this, you go over here. You want that, you go over there. So we're going to start rolling through these questions starting now. First question, one big plate or multiple plates? So I think there's two strategies when it comes to Thanksgiving dinner. You can either go with the big plate and load it all up and make a big mountain and then work through that. That doesn't preclude you from going back for seconds.
Right.
But I'm talking when you start. Or do you go about with one small plate, knowing full well you're going to go back and get another similarly sized plate? Which strategy are
Okay,
you going
one,
with?
I'm glad you clarified that even if I get the big plate, I can go back
Yes.
for more. I am going to have to go this on that one big plate.
Okay.
So specifically on the pickle side of the family, big family. So I always felt like mad rush. I had to get there because GBC, green bean casserole, if I didn't get my mountain of it then, there's a chance I could be messing around and not getting enough of it. So I go, one big
Okay.
plate.
All right. I'm going to go, and I've changed on this, I'm going to go multiple plates. I'm going to go with that because for me, I want to make sure I get to try everything, and I worry if I put a
Okay.
big mountain, the stuff on the bottom, I'm not going to be enjoying as much because I'm going to be so ravenous
Okay.
at the top. So I'm going to go with that. I like the multiple plates approach. I also don't have a huge family to contend with.
Okay.
Like,
Maybe it's an age is wisdom thing, you
maybe
know?
it is. Maybe I'm smarter than
Okay, I didn't say that. This is not going well.
maybe you can just counter and say maybe I'm just older than you.
Yeah, old man.
Next question. All right. On Thanksgiving morning, are you sleeping in
Easy.
or are you waking up early?
This is that. Okay, I'm going that. Waking up early, Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. I think we brought this up last year that your wife, my wife, is a big parade gal. That's all me. Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade, you gotta be up when it starts. It starts at 9 a.m. our time, God's time zone. Like, I am not missing the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade.
Okay, I'm going to agree with you on waking up early for different reasons, though. Because I'm not a huge parade guy. I think it's fine. It's nice background noise. Basically leads up to, more
Your wife points
things.
it out and you say, oh, yeah,
Look at that, fine. it's the best day of the year. I want to soak in every moment. I want to wake up, I want to have a cup of coffee, right? I want to enjoy maybe a little bit of music in the morning.
Hear the birds singing,
exactly
smell
right.
the air.
I want to enjoy my day. Furthermore, there are years where you've got work to do.
Yeah,
right?
oh yeah,
like
absolutely.
If you're cooking a turkey, sometimes you got to wake up early.
Yeah.
There have been times like if you go and you smoke a turkey, you got to wake up early and make sure you get that thing in the smoker early. So I like waking up early on Thanksgiving simply to soak in as much as possible.
Okay.
If you want to do a parade, that's fine too. All right, next question. Stuffing or dressing? Now let's be very clear.
This is not in the turkey.
These are not the
side
same.
dish.
These are not the same. Stuffing is the stuff that you stuff in the turkey and then you take out and you eat. Dressing is made separately from the turkey. Which one are you playing?
I'm gonna go with that. I'm going with dressing. That's just how we always did it. We always had it on the side. We never did it in the actual bird itself.
Okay. I'm going to go with the stuffing. That's the way we go. That's the way we do it in the Tepper household. My dad would stuff the bird, and then that stuff, he would also make a side of the same stuff. That would be dressing, functionally. But the stuff that was always in the bird was always better, because you get those juices.
Little juicy.
You get a little juices in there, okay? So I'm a stuffing guy. Your mileage may vary. There are people who want to tell you that's dangerous. They're wrong. Eat the stuffing.
I'm trying the dressing for the first time, like making the dressing, and that's the thing I'm probably most nervous about.
How are you making it?
Cornbread.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good. Let's talk afterwards, because you got their little sourdough in there too. I'll talk to you a little about it. All right. Next question. This or that. Do you dress up for Thanksgiving, or is it casual Thanksgiving? How are we going about the Pickle family Thanksgiving?
Okay, I'm actually going to go on this one. Two footballs. Just
wow,
one football.
dressing.
Yeah, it's weird because we're a real casual family. Yeah. Like, we don't typically dress up often. That's really not us. But the one time a year that we all, and I think it's because we usually take like a nice little family picture and stuff. So I think that's the one time a year where you're like, my brother was expected to wear jeans and not sweatpants,
Right. So for me, I'm going to go with casual because that's generally the way that we go about Thanksgiving. But at the same time, like when I say casual, like what I'm wearing, I would consider to be casual.
Okay.
So I guess I don't know, because that's the thing. Now for me, if we're just hosting or something like that, normally it'll be like if you want to wear shorts, if you want to wear sweatpants or whatever, like you can rock and roll with that. I also think that casual Thanksgiving is the superior Thanksgiving.
Well, yeah, because that leaves more room in the gut. Typically, yes. I feel like stretchy pants helps. So yeah, I would agree with that.
You're a master of the stretchy pants. Next question. Pecan pie or pumpkin pie? This is one of the deeply, deeply held debates in Thanksgiving
it's probably
culture.
The longest lasting debate.
It's probably the debate. This is the Protestants versus Catholics of Thanksgiving debates. Are you going pecan pie or are you going pumpkin pie?
Pecan pie. Big pecan pie. And you know this. Most of you know this. Not a big sweets fan.
Yeah.
I will dive into a little slice of pecan pie every now and then. I also love pecans, so that plays a huge role in it.
And I want to be very clear that I love both pies very much. Okay, so if
this is a 1A 1B situation.
If either lobby is here, listening to me, I don't want you to get mad when I say, guys, we got to go with pumpkin pie. Pumpkin pie.
I think we've disagreed on everything.
Pumpkin pie is the way to go. Pumpkin pie is the quintessential Thanksgiving pie. That's the thing. Pumpkin pie, to me, pecan pie is almost a year-round pie. Pumpkin pie, I almost never eat. You don't eat outside of Thanksgiving.
That's fair.
That's the thing. And so for me, it represents Thanksgiving even better. And so I want all those things that are so representative of Thanksgiving. You
know what I think it is about pecan pie? It's got crunch to it. Pecan pie, or pumpkin pie, I also feel like it's a lot easier to mess up a pumpkin pie. It can get soupy.
It can get soupy.
So maybe I've had too many bad experiences with soupy pie.
Although I will say, buddy of mine, I'm trying to remember who makes this. They make a chocolate pecan pie. It is dastardly. Oh my gosh. All right, next question.
Here for that.
Do you watch halftime of the Cowboys game or do you nap during halftime of the Cowboys game? Either one's fine. Maybe you get to see Creed. Or you get to see the inside of your eyelids. Which one are you going with?
I was just fixing to bring it up. I gotta watch halftime because I am always looking for something to top Creed 20 years ago, by the way, which was the masterful production that was.
That was
20-year
quite
anniversary. So
this is not tough for me. I got a nap during halftime.
Time.
That's the perfect time. To me, I don't think I've seen the third quarter of a Cowboys game on Thanksgiving in years. Okay, because that is the perfect nap time. Because I believe it's a 3:15 kick.
Yeah.
Normally
3:25, yeah.
Normally we eat dinner about 4-ish, right?
Okay.
Normally our time is sometime between 3:30 and 4. We won't be sitting down to do it, which means that we're done by about 5, which means hitting right at then, bang, I'm out.
Okay, see, we always do more of like a lunch, Thanksgiving, like midday, 2, 3 o'clock.
So is your nap over by halftime, or are you holding off on that?
I'm holding off because then I can get all the football in and really let the food hit me, because at that point it hasn't super hit me yet, and then out.
Okay. All right. Interesting. Got a nap though. Sorry. All right. What's next? Fresh cranberry sauce or canned cranberry sauce?
I'm gonna go fresh on this one. I'm not the biggest fan of cranberry sauce.
I don't need it.
I was just gonna say, if it's there, I'll eat it. If it's not, I'm not like, where's the cranberry sauce?
Yeah.
But my granny makes a spectacular fresh cranberry sauce.
Fresh cranberry sauce is great. Fresh cranberry sauce is great. I'm going canned. And for the same reason that you and I we agree on green bean casserole, which is it's the best when it's all processed. Okay, I want the Campbell's soup. I want the French's green beans and the little fried onions.
Yeah.
I want it to be full of nitrates and terrible things for you, right? I want it to look like a can. That's
when you shake it out and it's got the ridges on the side of it.
I want the ridges. The ridges are packed with flavor. There's no science to back that up, but you gotta trust me on it. That's the key to great cranberry sauce, is it's gotta look like a can. I can't explain it. I know that there are great fresh cranberry sauce recipes.
Oh yeah.
They're awesome. I can't do it. I'm sorry, I can't do it. All right, what's next? All right. You got a little bit of room, right? Knowing full well that you've got a little bit of room, it could come before, could come after. Are you going for that extra dessert, or are you going for the extra?
This is layup territory for me.
Yeah, I know this is.
Extra appetizer, 10 out of 10 times, which is funny because even we'll bring in our sponsor of Chicken Express. I am big side person, so I would I sometimes on Thanksgiving get very little meat, and I mean it's just all the sides. So extra appetizer is
What's the appetizer
here.
game in the pickle household?
I don't just pick.
Okay.
I guess I was gonna say, I don't think we never really did a big, mainly because we were saving that gut room. And everyone on the pickle side of the family is super big dessert people, so they typically go heavy on dessert, light on appetizers.
All right, for me, I'm gonna go same way. I'm gonna go extra appetizer.
We agreed on one.
I want a little bit of something to get me ready, to get me going.
Expand the gut a little bit.
Maybe something like a pigs in a blanket, something like that. You get a little bit of, maybe my mom will make a dip or something. It'll be good. I want to do that to get me ready, because there's also football on.
Oh yeah,
that's important.
Absolutely.
All right, next question. This is important. Do you have a cocktail before 1 p.m. or do you wait till after 1 p.m. for the cocktail? Because I think that Thanksgiving is a drinking holiday.
It is.
Right? And so there's some people who it's like, you know what, that is like a Saturday in the fall, right? Where it's like, oh, you know what, the rules don't matter.
Yeah, if you're drinking at 9 a.m. before 11 o'clock kick, it's like, well, that's normal. Yeah.
But there's also people who are like, you know what, I gotta wait till we're getting close to dinner.
Right.
Maybe I've got some appetizer, stuff like that. When's your first cocktail?
Well, considering, I'm going to go before 1 p.m. One, because I'm me, but two, considering the fact that we do more of a lunch type of thing, but I do have a hard fast rule of it only needs to be one before I eat, because I don't want to be messing up the food. We're trying to sip, and like you said, that moment of you're sitting there with the turkey in the oven sipping and being like, okay.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to go with the same thing, but that's because I'm a Catholic. A cocktail before 1 o'clock. Maybe go a little Bloody Mary, something like that.
Exactly. A nice mimosa.
Because the other thing is that, especially when you're cooking, especially when you're doing a turkey, you got a long range thing to do. That is prime. Have a little beer, sitting there. You're shooting the breeze with people. There's football on. A lot of good. It's good drinking.
It can be anxious to make all that food too. So it kind of that's the perfect little. It's all going to end up okay.
Exactly. And finally, last question.
All right.
Dog show or parade, okay? And I believe they lead into one another. I believe that the dog show follows
the parade.
Macy's Thanksgiving Day parade.
It comes on right
now,
after.
I know where you're going to do it.
Yeah, but that's so hard.
I know it is, because you know what? That dog show is excellent.
It's so good. I've got to go with the parade because I have just publicly to all the people made it known how big of a Macy's Day Parade fan I am. But I love the dog show. I think it's so cool.
I'm going to go with dog show.
Yeah,
I love
that's
the dog
fair.
show. I love the puppers. I think the puppers are great. I think that is something I'm glad that they've embraced and been like, you know what? They know they're not going to counter program the football game, right? And so they're just like, you know what? Why don't we just give something for people who don't like football?
Yeah, here's the Puppy Bowl.
Or if you don't want to watch the Lions, then you can just watch dogs, and that's even better. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So there it is. Thanksgiving, this or that. I think we agreed on one,
Yeah.
maybe two, maybe two.
I think drinking and appetizers, which we got strong pregame capabilities, is what we're saying.
We have a brand. All right. Happy Thanksgiving, Pekka.
Happy Thanksgiving.
That's going to do it for us. Thanks for spending a little bit of your day with us. Follow us on Twitter at DCTF. Like us on Facebook, facebook.com/Dave Campbell's. Follow us on Instagram, instagram.com/Dave Campbell's. And, of course, see us at texasfootball.com. Remember, we are off tomorrow because tomorrow's the best day of the year. We're also off Friday, so we're back Monday. Pickle, happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Please tell your family that I said hello.
I will too.
We'll see you Monday on Texas Football Today.